Hello there and welcome to New Beginnings, my everyday life in rural Cyprus. Welcome to my home. Nice to see you visiting Cyprus. Okay, let's begin straight away so you have time to think about it with today's puzzle piece. So let's begin straight away with that. And then you have time to ponder. If you're watching this live, you can answer in the chat and we'll see if you get there before I reveal the answer. If you're watching this back later, then of course, see if you can think of the answer before someone in the chat gets it. Okay, for my little own devised puzzles. Today, let's do this one. A man stands on one side of a river. His dog is on the other side of the river. The man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet or using a bridge or any other aid to cross the river. How does he do it? So I'll read that one more time. A man stands on one side of a river. His dog is on the other side of the river. The man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet or using a bridge or any other aid to cross. How did he do it? So you can't have any help in any shape or form to cross the river. Let's see if anyone gets that. We have Glitterworld in the chat. Hello to Shirley. How are you doing? I hope you heard about how I can't come on anyone's channels right now because we are on our limited limit of our internet. So I'm just saving it up to do my lives and my posting. But be assured, next month I will be back following everyone's lives and videos. So until then, guys, do go and check out Glitterworld. So go. Oh, she did hear. So I wasn't sure if you was on where I was saying about it. I get so worried that people won't have spread the word. So if you know anyone that I watch and follow, do spread the word. We're fine, but we can't do anything more. We've tried to work it out. We've also got our volunteers coming. Ooh, they come on the 20th. So they're coming soon, and I'm very concerned they want to use internet. So I will still be doing my lives. We should be okay. They're outie people, so I'm hoping they won't be people that just have their internet on all the time. But yes, it's fine. It's fine. So yes, let's say the puzzle again for today. A man stands on one side of the river. His dog is on the other side of the river. The man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet or using a bridge or any other aid or any help at all to cross the river. How did he do it? And let's see if anyone gets that today, or whether the applause is for me today if I manage to beat you all. Okay, what should we do now? Let me see. Oh, let's go on to... I'm on the wrong bit. Let's go on to Wednesday would help, Dawn. Yes. Oh, I'm still slogging away with this book. I would not recommend it. It's from a man's perspective of why they have it away with any woman they see, basically. It's not my sort of material. I am halfway through, but I have jumped a lot of it to even get that far. The story is okay. I'm giving it afford to be generous just because it's not my sort of book. There's too much bits about nothing. I don't know how to explain that. Bits about it's not getting on with his story, if you like. He quotes things, and it's almost like he's been told to write so many pages and he's put filler in between. You know, like those YouTubers who just show inserts between the video they're telling you the video's about, and they just put footage, B-roll as we call it, in, but constantly. Yeah, it's like that. It's not my cup of tea. I'm going to persevere. I nearly gave up with it today. I was like, no, just jump bits then and just see where it goes. He's a journalist. Not very good at writing books though, are you? As I say, it's probably more man's book. And when I say man's book, I'm going to say a 19 to 24-year-old, you know, ones who think they can put it about a bit. It's not my cup of tea at all, but I'll see if I can get to the end, because it's only fair to rate it when I get to the end. Now, most of my books get a good rating as I'm reading it, and then I get to the very end, and because it's not had an unexpected ending or a really good ending, it suddenly gets degraded in my out of 10. Well, this is low to start with. Is it going to be a wow ending? I don't think so. We'll see if I'm still reading this next week or not. I think I will jump quite a bit more. Yes, and I won't bore you with reading bits of it. Not for me at all. And I don't know anyone I would recommend it to either. Glitterworld saying the dog uses a boat. No, he doesn't use anything or have any help in any way. So he doesn't use a boat. He cannot use anything. The dog comes straight across to him, across the river, not using any help by people or objects. So he has no aids. So no boat, no tightrope, no. No aids at all, but thank you for guessing. That's really cool. Oh, is that OMG about the book? Yes. I didn't get the book. I just got a whole mishmash of books that had been passed around the community, and one of my friends said, do you want them, because they've been round and round and round and no one wants them anymore. It's all sorts of books, all sorts of subjects, all over the place. So I'm just trying to read all of them. There's some fantasy type books there. I'm not into that sort of book. I will give them a go. I like to give every book a go, and we'll see. And so far, I don't think I've given up on any books. Hey, we have Treasure Woman in the house. How are you doing, my friend? I've just been explaining. I haven't been able to go on anyone's channels. We have the absolute limit now of internet, just enough, hopefully, for me to keep posting and do my lives. So I will be back. And guys, do go and look at Treasure Woman's channel. She does all sorts of things, gaming. Also, she goes on lots of trips, holidays, and shows you little bits there. Always a good coffee break channel to go and just look at something. And if you want to see different places where you can go, lots of UK stuff. So go and check that out. So go and have a look at Treasure Woman's channel. And while you're there, why not hit the subscribe button? Okay, so I'll read the puzzle one more time. A man stands on one side of a river. His dog is on the other side of the river. The man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet or using a bridge or any other aid to cross. How did he do it? No people helped. Nada. Okay, what should we do now? Let's do... You can't see what the oops was. Let's do this. little bits in my garden. Today I harvested any yellow melons that were there. I don't think they're going to get any bigger. And oh, we have a cat visitor. This is one you don't see very often. Are you coming up? Come on in. Come on in. This is the one that steals our roast chicken when we've cooked it. Come on in. You're coming up. Let's pick you up. Ooh. Oh, it's Kit. It's Kit. He likes to cuddle. Kit likes to cuddle. He's the naughty boy, but he was the one that we thought was dead. We thought poisoned at first, but the vet reckoned he'd gone out and got some wild berries here because he eats anything. And we think he just gorged himself on some wild berries. And when I said that to the vet, that's the only thing he could have eaten that wasn't a poison. And the vet said, yes, the results of the toxin test and that they gave him, he was on his last legs, he kept fitting and had seizures. I thought he was a goner. And the vet said, when I said the berries, what type of berries, they're not in my garden. He said, yeah, that actually could well be it. And luckily I was frightened to go and find some berries again. They're like wild, all over the place. And I was so frightened to do it again. But obviously he's realised eating those was a problem. Don't know if you can hear him purring. Can you hear him? He's got a very funny purr, like he's asthmatic. But I asked the vet about that and he said, no, some cats do purr like that. He's a ragdoll kitten, so he's quite a flopsy cat. He flops, and that's why I can't tell him off when twice now we've cooked our chicken for our Sunday dinner, left it out to cool, covered, and he gets it, pulls it down on the floor and eats it. But I can't tell him off. Look at him, he's so cute. He has goggle eyes sometimes. I think he's short-sighted or long-sighted. He sometimes, like, his eyes look like they're going to pop out of his head when he's focusing on something. Yeah, you're a sweetie, aren't you? He's so huge now. If you look at any pictures or filming when we first got him, we went, oh, look, that poor little kitty, he's starving. No. He always eats like he's starving, and he's huge now. He's absolutely huge. He's heavy. He's very heavy. Aren't you? Can we pick you up and show how fatty heavy you are? Ooh. He's very heavy. He's very heavy. That's not the funny pattern on his back. That's because I've ruffled him up. There is Kit. Oh, you're heavy, aren't you? And if you've watched my 5K video, my 5K giveaway, do enter. You've got until the 25th of November. If you watch my 5K video, you'll see him. He comes to me in the garden while I'm filming it, and he starts kissing me and licking me and snuzzling me. Really sweet. So what did I press that we would go play? Oh, we'd talk about garden updates. Yes, so I just picked some yellow melons just before this, actually. And some were okay to have, some were too small. Some had seeds already starting to grow inside them. So those I've just put in a pot and see if they grow. I didn't sort of plant them properly. I just shoved the whole thing under earth, so they probably won't take. And so I've harvested seeds from those. I've been harvesting seeds twice now, 2 great big lots of seeds harvested of the Malabar spinach. It's this, if you can see, what I've got hairs all over my top. That was from one of the other cats. That was from Mr. Colin Waffles. So my Malabar spinach, I've harvested twice, 2 big lots of seeds. There's more on there. I've got to harvest those. I am going to do a little garden update video. There's lots of bits and pieces. My loofahs, I think there's 5 loofahs now on my loofah plant. They're about that long. One's a little bit curly, but the rest are like that. And I'm filming those every so many days or weeks when there's significant change, and I am going to do a whole video on that. I've done a video before about loofahs, all about loofahs, but this one I'm saving up the footage of the growing stages, and then when I harvest them I'll show you that and tell you about harvesting them. So saving footage there. So I filmed a bit more of those today. I've been filling my raised beds with just raking up leaves because we had a couple of windstorms. Still boiling hot here. It's like Sahara Desert windstorms, are hot winds, not cold winds at all. We're still sweating away here, sweating away here. So I've done some harvesting. What else? Oh, chive seeds. I've harvested chive seeds, and I've got great tips of how you can harvest chives quite easily. I've also put a brown paper bag around one of my lavender plants in the hope that the seeds would just drop straight into that. First time I've grown lavender, so that's a trial. I don't know what to do with the lavender. I know you can make lavender bags and things like that, but I can't sleep with lavender smell. I'm not allowed any aromatherapy or anything like that because of my brain damage. So I can't make lavender bags and things like that. I don't like those like lavender type, violet type sweets. Anyone got any ideas what else I can do with lavender? I'm using it just as a bug repellent and pretty plant on my patio. What else have I done? Yes, I'm filling up my raised beds with leaves, raking up lots of leaves, just using those for now to start piling those up again. What else? Oh, I did some more planting. So I've been planting radish, onion, so white onion, red onion, Lisbon onion, leeks, beetroot. I've harvested more beetroot and I've been cooking that for Mike. I don't really like beetroot particularly, so I've been harvesting that. My parsley I started growing again. I'd run out of parsley because I just eat it like a cow grazing. I eat a lot of parsley. I've re-sowed that and we've got that again. That was the only herb that I didn't have any of because I'd used it all. Now, last year was the first year I started growing herbs, and I thought I would have to preserve herbs. So I've got a video how I preserved in many ways because I like to try all different ways and then see what works best for me. So I did a whole video on how I preserve parsley, basil. Didn't preserve mint because I make mint sauce when that's ready. Rosemary, I preserved that. My rosemary plant didn't need to preserve it. It's about this tall. It's gigantic. Basil, I grow it so easily. I keep hearing people say they can't grow basil from seed, and I'm like, here it's just rampant. You even look at a seed and it produces a basil plant. But the reason I grow lots as well is because I have it in many places around the garden. So by our volunteers area, they have their own little garden I've made so they can pick. The vertical growing wall, I have some there. The patio, I have some there. My new herb patch, I've got some there, like a kitchen garden, herb garden I'm creating. So I've got some there. So I have it different ways. And what I do is each time I harvest some, I go to the next area. Then the next time I want some, the next area. So it's all being harvested equally. So as I say, I didn't need to preserve basil, even though I did, because everyone told me it won't last all year. Yes, it does. It does here. It's our climate. So apart from the parsley, which I only grew a little bit of, and that ran out, everything lasted over winter. And all I have to make sure I do is not let anything flower, and then it will keep going and going and going and going. Now, you will see sometimes I do grow some more of these things, and that's because I feel like anything, even a fruit tree, after so many years, you're not going to get the perfect fresh fruit fruit anymore. So you should always cycle some new things going, or indeed, if you ever get a pest or a bug, something like that, then of course you want reserve. Don't plant things in the same place, grow it somewhere else, and experiment, grow different ways. If something doesn't grow for you, try and grow it a different way. So to make sure my rosemary doesn't stop, I don't let the flowers go on it. The little purple flowers, I just pick off as soon as I see one. Same with the basil. As soon as I see a little flower, I pick it off. I don't need seeds and these things. I've got plenty of seeds. So just if you want something to keep going and going with your herbs, just pick off the little flowers the second you see them, pick them off, and you should be fine. The basil gets little bobbly heads first, but the flowers form underneath that. But as soon as you see that bobbly head, pull that off and then you won't get the flowers. So that's what I've been doing really in my garden, just keep creating. The bottle gardens started again, my bottle farm, if you're interested in that. And my hugel beds don't have anything new growing in them, but I'm starting to reload those up as well with leaves and things. So that's really what I've been doing in my garden. Okay, we've had one guest so far for the puzzle piece. Let me remind you of it. So the puzzle of today is: a man stands on one side of a river. His dog is on the other side of the river. The man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet or using a bridge or any other aid or person to cross. How did he do it? While you're pondering on that, let's have a look at Wednesday's quote corner. And if you're doing my 5K giveaway, this quote is an answer to one of the questions. So write it down and you're already one clue done. Okay, let's go on to this. Okay, so an update on my current cross stitch. This is a fairly new one. I've shown it 3 times. I think this is the 3rd time. I think this is the 3rd time you've seen this one, and you have to guess what you think it is. Now, I've said I want a very specific answer, so I can't remember what the last clue I gave you, as in the type of specific answer I wanted. So an idea of a specific answer would be, you might say it's a lady's face, but the answer I might be looking for is it's the Queen. So do you see why I mean something very specific in your answer? Or you might say, oh, it's a building. Well, it might be a very famous building, the Taj Mahal. So it's got to be a very specific answer as to what this one is, because it's something very specific. So again, you might say, oh, it's, what else might we say? You might say, oh, it's a cover of a book, but it might be what the actual book is. So you see, it's something very specific I want as the answer. So this is how we're going on so far. Let me just adjust. There we go. So The line at the bottom is not the bottom. As you may or may not know, when you do cross stitch, you start at the very middle. So that's the middle, basically, where you see the bottom line. The middle was probably about here. About here is the middle of the picture. So as you can see, there's a new colour. Now on the screen here, I can see the different colours quite easily. When you get the threads out and they're all wrapped around each other, the threads on the bobbins, you can see the different colours. As soon as I pull out one thread, then I double it over because you need a double thread, but I use one thread and double it over. As soon as you do that, to me, they all looked pretty similar when I was stitching. And then you can see this gold colour. Well, with this gold colour, I said to Mike, oh, thank goodness, I've got a gold, a different colour. There's actually two colours there. I don't know if you can see the difference of that. And I said to Mike, yes, you might think so, but when I'm stitching, to me, it looks like the same colour as the Aida, the material. So what is this? We've had a couple guesses so far. As I say, I want a very specific answer. If you want to guess sort of, oh, but I can see it's a person, for example, then do guess that. But as I say, it might be something more specific, like, for example, who the person is. So that's what I'm looking for, a very specific answer. And these stitches are very small. It's not quite doing my head in, but I can't do as much at one sitting as I could with the last one that I did. And if you miss seeing my last one, then on my other channel, I'll put it up for you. Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty. If you go on there, you'll see a whole craft playlist, and that's where you can see the last one from start to finish. And if you didn't see it, then of course you can watch that and see if you can guess before that video's finished as to what that one was. As I say, that one was much easier because it was bigger squares. They weren't big squares, but they weren't minute, and the colours were pretty different apart from two colours, which there was a little thing about that I got too mixed up. But it was okay because they were so similar anyway. I ran out of one colour because of that, but it was so similar to the other colour. I actually managed to match up the one it should have been with some thread I already had. So that's our craft update. I enjoy doing it, but I can only do it for a certain amount of time and also in very good sunlight. But as it's been so extremely hot and sunny, I do it in my sun lounge. I get too hot in there and the sun is too bright. I can't work with artificial light. So it doesn't matter how good a light system I set up, I can't work in that. And I can't sit and do it anywhere other than on the table with it all laid out. So I make sure I follow the plan. And the plan, I think I've showed you this. I have a magnetic board and then I have the pattern on that. Excuse it takes a few seconds to adjust. And I put the little red cross there. That is the middle. So this is the section. This and across here a bit is what you've been seeing. And even the pattern itself looks a bit chaotic. I'm working now on this bit over here. As you can see, these are magnetic. So what I do is put them across the line I'm doing. And I actually use the very corner to keep on which square I'm stitching. So I slide it along, but also I know if I stop, which I don't do on this, I'll like, oh. But the very corner is the actual stitch I'm working on and just slide it along. And then if I need to check against the cross stitch, I take the big one and lay that across the line so I can see where I'm up to on that. That's the method I use. And for me, that works best. I've heard people colour in the squares, but I can't put the cross stitch down without losing my place. I have to stick a needle up it. If I look away and look back, I'm completely gone. So I don't want to start colouring bits in and all that kind of thing. I'm all right doing it that way. And as I say, I'll do a whole bit. Let's say you've got one symbol for a few going across. I will make sure I do all that bit and cross back again before I stop. So I'm finishing on a particular pattern symbol, particular symbol. So yeah, see, I can show you that. You haven't got a clue what I'm doing from that. Couldn't show you the last one because it was quite obvious as to what it was. Okay, let's do, yeah, so my other channel's running below there. Do check it out. I'm always promoting other people's channel. So do check it out. Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty, and go straight on the playlist section and you can see all the type of things, the content that you'll find there, which is very different from this channel. And by the way, have you checked my playlist on this channel? I'm sure there's things on this channel you might not know exists, so check it out. Okay, let's move on and let's do this. Now, if you don't know, that little hamster you see there is a representation of my hamster that's running around my light ring. I've got that like a roulette wheel. The numbers are spinning round. He hasn't stopped yet. When he stops running around there, he lands on a number, and one of those numbers, each of those numbers represents my countdown, the beginning of this live, and whatever the picture is you see on that countdown at the beginning of the live, the number it represents, that is what we will talk about. He's finally stopped, so I'll get him down for you. His name is Forest, and that name was devised by the Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla channel. Go and check them out. I was asking for a name for the hamster, a boy's name, because of course he's a boy. And they came up with Forest, as in run, Forest, run, because he's going round and round the light ring. Okay, he stopped. He stopped on number 7. Oh, there he is. So there's Forest. If you haven't met Forest, there he is. Still quite tanned from living in Cyprus. It's so hot here. So let's put him to bed. You go to bed now. Thank you for running round the wheel. So number 7 he stopped on. And on my countdown at the beginning, you'll see the pictures are frugalness, if you like, recycling and frugal, that kind of thing. So we need to talk something about that today. So as you may or may not know, I have lots of content on that on my channel in many ways. But one of the things I do a lot of and have lots of videos on is salvaging. Now, salvaging, we go to a local dump, and the dump, we are going to go there tomorrow because we have a second old washing machine we need to take back there. So we're going tomorrow, and I will film yet another haul, hopefully. The last haul was amazing. They're all pretty good, but the last one was amazing. So I've got so much footage of each time we go that you haven't seen all of what we got yet. Because I don't want to put them out back to back. So there is more to come. So fingers crossed for me. I either find things and repurpose them or upcycle them. But sometimes I find great things that there's nothing wrong with them, but I feel they're things I could find another purpose for. Some things are so good, and I'm like, I can't leave that here, because if you leave them, the skips, the massive skips, they're not like your little household ones you order if you're doing a building job at home. They're like massive. I've filmed them a few times, so you've seen them. And if you don't get to the stuff or no one takes it, it is going to be taken away. So if I see something that's really good, even if I don't need it, I might find someone who wants it, but 9 times out of 10, I try to find another use for it if I don't need it as the purpose it was intended for. And that's like my little hobby, if you like. And I did laugh because last time I said to Mike, we took loads of stuff, as I say, an old washing machine and old computer bits, all sorts of things. And I said to Mike, I think I brought more home than I took there, but useful things. I don't just collect rubbish. One man's trash is another man's treasure. So we're going again tomorrow, and this is my little trip out. It's not too far away, so it's not too much petrol, and you don't pay. I've heard a lot of people say they have to pay to go to their dumps, or they're only allowed a certain amount of times and then they have to pay. We can go as many times as we like, and our one, you can take literally anything. You can take old batteries, and I'm talking about car batteries as well as household batteries. You can take old medication. There's all places in this place where you put them, and as you drive in, they ask you what you've got and if you've got any odd stuff. And you can take biohazard stuff. There's a separate place for that. Gas canisters, I think you can take. There isn't tyres. We've never seen tyres there. Tyres. And I've translated for myself the list when you drive in what you can take. I don't remember seeing tyres. I'm trying to think of things you might think, oh, you probably can't take that there. You probably can. If you're not sure, I have put up the sign-in video. Just hit translate and you should be able to see what there is. Maybe I'll do that one time where I do another dump video. I'll translate all the things it says, but all sorts of weird and wonderful things. They have a big shed there now. I say shed, like a barn, an open barn. And there they are putting things, big things, not little things, big things that people just don't want anymore. So, for example, wheelchairs, you know, like these running exercise machines, that kind of thing. But big stuff. A walking frame, I think, was there last time. There's not loads of stuff in there, but things that kind of are okay. Someone might want it, but people are dumping it because they don't want it. So those kind of things. So yes, we're going tomorrow, and as I say, that's like my hobby. It's my hobby. And a lot of the stuff I use in the garden. So I've got things like old casserole pots. I wouldn't reuse those, but they are good for bases for flower pots. Most of the stuff I get from there is I use for the garden, like baking trays, the deep, like meat trays, the deep ones. They're good for bases for plants. Or if you grow and you have several little pots, you can line them up in there, water with a small watering can, and you haven't wasted the water. Flower pots galore. Always flower pots. I have never bought a single flower pot. All the flower pots you see, either people give me or they are from the dump. So many flower pots. I've got a whole old chicken coop or bird house full of these sort of things. So at least I've got room to store these things. I store them there where I'm not using them, and then obviously use them, and then they go back in there. What else do I get a lot? Oh, I do laugh. Every time for about the last 10 times, I have got a mop bucket. People are throwing away mop buckets. Now, there's nothing wrong with them. I say the reason you get a lot of good stuff there are people are renovating. Normally, they have rented their property out as a rental, and then they get rid of it, or it might be a relative's died and they're just throwing stuff out, modernising. I think that's why I get so many mop buckets. It's a bit of a laugh. Last time I went, there was the mop buckets, and you can put the mop down and it's got that sort of like a sieve, a colander, that kind of look where you put it and twist it. And it's got all that in it. Last time I went, I got 2 mop buckets. One didn't have a handle though, but I use them again for pots. I can use them for pots. If they're really good mop buckets, I just keep them as mop buckets. But the one without a handle, I use them for pots, pot plants, bigger pots, because it's very hard to get big pots sometimes. But it's a bit of a laugh. I've had so many of these. What else do we get a lot of? Oh, I've had a lot of from old fridges. You know, they're not glass, they're like plasticky drawers that you have vegetables in. I've got lots of those sort of things. I like getting those again because they're quite deep, aren't they, when you've got a vegetable drawer in a fridge. They are great for when I first start seeds off in the small pots, and you just stand rows and rows of them in these, and I can start them indoors, and you can water and the water won't go everywhere. So yeah, that's pretty good. I've had a lot of those. I get anything like that I can also use upside down to help germinate. So I can germinate many things with these plasticky things over the top. Even you can get sometimes the glass shelves out of fridges. I pick up anything like that because then you can just lay them over loads of pots and they will germinate so much better. So as I say, most things I get are for the garden, so I repurpose them in other ways. So do check out my videos. Not all of those. Some of those are probably in my playlist, something about frugal living, something like that. And some might be in out and about, because I go out somewhere, I go to the dump. So I think some might be in my frugal playlist and some might be in out and about. So you might have to look in both to find them all. But yeah, that's what we're doing tomorrow. But what happened today? Well, I told you some of what I've done today. I have been swatting up on how to care for someone after their cataract operation. And it's quite not daunting, but there's quite a lot, as in you can do this after 1 day, you can do this after 5 days, you can do this after a week, you can do this after a week and a half. And I'm like, I need to write it all down. And today, one of the things was you can't lay on your side for, now let me think, that's a week. You cannot lay on your side for a week. I'm hoping I will get a carer's sheet. Mike doesn't seem to be looking up what he can and can't do. He said, I'll just do whatever they say. Well, there's some things I was looking up that I don't think they think of, but they are relevant to us. I know, like, you can't bend down or bend over. Driving, you can't drive. Now, this is different depending on which country you get your information from. 4 days we're going for, because if some say 1 day, some say 3 days, some say 4, I'd rather we do it for the maximum. So 4 days, considering as well we live up about bouncy, bumpy mountain track that is long. It's not like 2 minutes, it's a long drive. So I don't think that's going to be good for Mike anyway. I think he's got visions of going out as soon as possible in the car, but up and down that isn't a good idea. What else can and can't do? I've learned how to attach this protective. It's not an eye patch or an iPad. It seems to be like a hard plastic aerated thing, like a protective thing. And I've learned how you put that on without pulling on the eye. So I've learned that. What else? There were so many things. There were silly things that I wouldn't thought of. Oh, everyone said about like you mustn't wash your eye, you mustn't rub your eye, you mustn't touch your eye. Obviously, that's why you have to wear this protective thing at night. And I was thinking it was so it doesn't. I'm oversaying this, but so your eye doesn't fall out. You have this like shield thing on your eye when you're asleep. And that's why I thought it must have been. But then when I read you can't lay on your side because your eyeball might fall out. No, it's because you can get detachment. I thought, well, why are you still wearing that protective shield thing? You have to wear it at night. Even when you're recovered, you still have to wear that for a couple of weeks at least after the operation when you're sleeping. And then it was explained it's because in the night you might rub your eye, or as you wake up you might forget and rub your eye. So that's why you have to wear that. What other? There was some weird thing. Oh, then there's this one what you should and shouldn't eat afterwards. But I think it's like I have to tell Mike actually because he eats these salty snacks, and they said not that because you mustn't dry anything out, and that would salty food lead to it. So I have to tell him I was going to take his snacks with us, but no, not that now. But yeah, that really is what I've been doing today, just going through that. And that's the problem with social media. Someone say something else, then someone with no knowledge will do a video on these things and then say something but get it wrong. Like I say, there's so many things. If they say it wrong a day instead of a week, for example, that could be quite detrimental. Oh, I was saying, Mike said, oh, they'll just tell me what I can and can't do. And I said, you probably get a sheet. You might get a sheet with what you can and can't do. And he said, well, I'll just read that. Well, first of all, it says you mustn't watch TV and you mustn't read. So it's down to me. And also it'd be down to me anyway, because it's going to be in Greek. There's no way it's going to be in English. This isn't an expat hospital. This is a Cypriot place. So, yeah, it's going to be in Greek anyway, which isn't an issue for me. But as I say, you slightly read something or miss a word out. So I wanted to swat up on things so I've got more idea beforehand. And I'm glad I did, because to show how you attach this protection shield thing, I wanted to know how to do that. I want to ask about the drops though, because you're supposed to have up to 3 different drops afterwards. There's steroid, there's anti-inflammatory maybe, and there's like an antibiotic one. You might have 1, you might have 2, you might have all 3, depends where you are. And I want to check with them. I want them to say where to drop them, because both me and Mike have had different forms of eye drops. Some of them tell you put it on the outside, like inside your eye, but like the outside. Some tell you put it on like the inside, they like here, the inside bit. Some say only look up. Some say blink them in, roll your eyes round. Some say you mustn't do that. So I want to, if they give drops, that's my question. I want to ask them, like, because I administer Mike's eye drops. He doesn't do his own eye drops. I do my own, but I do his. So some say the ones he's got at the moment, you mustn't get them on the eye. So I said to him, look up and then don't roll your eye around like you would do with your other ones. Oh, that's something else. They said after cataract operations, you must keep blinking or screwing your eyes up. You mustn't screw your eyes up, as in days, weeks till it's healed. So you mustn't do that. So quite a lot to learn about. I don't really know anything about eyes. That's my weak spot of medical stuff. I'm pretty good on, well, obviously on brains and anything to do with brains and ligaments, tendons, bones, heart. I do know most things, but eyes, no, don't really know anything about that. And as I say, so many different forms of information on that as well. So yes, so that's basically what's been happening today. Doing all that. The operation is imminent. As I say, I can't say an actual date because I have mad fan stalkers. But I will tell you afterwards how the first one went, and then there's 3 more operations after that. Oh my goodness. So forgive me if I'll be a bit not knowing if I'm coming or going. I try to arrange like what I normally do, and I've had to rearrange things. But I can tell you my volunteers are coming on the 20th of October. So very soon. Very soon. I'm really excited. Looking forward to seeing these. They sound so lovely just on the messages backwards and forwards. And I did tell you that they were talking about, they sent me a message to say, were me and Mike allergic to anything? And I was like, not really, not of any significance. I said, Mike's allergic to penicillin and she's allergic to penicillin. So that was quite funny. And she said, oh, because we'd like to bring you some of our national food for you to try if you'd like to try it. So that's really nice. So they sound really sweet. So I think we're going to have a good time with them. They're here from the 20th of October and they leave on the 3rd of November. So that's basically 2 weeks, isn't it? Basically 2 weeks. So I've got lots of things lined up, and it will all be done, but hopefully we'll have lots of time together as well. If they're interested in walking, I'm going to re-look up their profiles, because you get profile of the people coming to you. I've got to reread those, and hopefully we'll be going out for walks. And I think they're very keen to go and see lots of areas of Cyprus. This is why we say only work for 3 hours a day, which is the minimum a volunteer can work. So it's 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And if they get up early, that gives them almost the whole day to go out and about. So they will probably ask where to go, or they might have already got good ideas where they want to go. Okay, so let's now look at the puzzle piece. Let's go back to that. Nobody got it in the chat today. Where's that puzzle piece? Okay, so the puzzle today was, a man stands on one side of a river. His dog is on the other side of the river. The man calls his dog, who immediately crosses the river without getting wet or using a bridge or any other aid or person to cross. How did he do it? Well, it's simple when you know the answer, of course. The river was frozen, so he just ran across the river. There we go. That's the answer. So today Dawn has beaten the watchers. If you were watching this back later, did you get it? Let me know in the comments if you did. So today As far as I know, the applause goes to me. Well done, me. Well done, me. Okay, let's do this. Oh, that music gives me nightmares. Do you know why? I was editing something for my dance channel. And when I was editing it, I'm very careful when I film. If be the dance channel, I'm dancing to set bits of music. And I'm very careful to write that down because I might edit it a week later or so and I'll forget what music I used. I came to edit it. I couldn't find any bit of paper with it written down. I'm like, no, what did I use? Now, I know that tune fairly well because I use it fairly often because it's a nice bright bit of music. Now, I knew it was from Roa, which is where a lot of my music comes from. It's all free to use as long as you credit the music piece. Hence, I needed to know which piece it was. So I went through all my Roa music. Now, I knew it was an older bit, one of the first bits I got of her, so it was limited. And I am quite clever to actually, it's no point showing you, I've got an exercise book and I write down all free to use music that I use. And then I put next to it a bit of a guide. I might put cheerful or good, slow. I just put a little idea for myself. If it's types of dance it fits, as in samba, I might write that. I might put good background music, so if I'm narrating. So I put myself clues. So I had something for that gave me a clue, so I knew lots of them, it wasn't going to be those as well. But I found it. And that piece of music is called Innocence. It's called Innocence. So it's by Roa. If you want to know any of my music, they are all linked below this video because, as I said to you, to use Roa's music, you have to credit it. Now, obviously, I randomly choose what I'm going to show you today or talk about. So I don't know which of these little interlude bits of music you're going to hear. And this is why I have set things for Monday, set things for Wednesday, and set things for Friday. I might not do them all, but that is, I can't do anything other than those little interlude theme bits of music. Because take a look under this live and the credits, you will see there's a great big bit of Roa music. So any of the ones I might possibly use on a Wednesday, I just copy and paste that whole bit from my Word doc every Wednesday, and then whatever ones I use of the themes that I can potentially use on Wednesday will be credited. So the credit's down there somewhere. Okay, so let's do the jokes and fun. Let's do this one. A lawyer purchased a box of very rare and expensive cigars. Then he insured them against, amongst other things, fire. Within a month, having smoked his entire stockpile of these great cigars, and without yet having made even his first premium payment on the policy, the lawyer filed a claim against the insurance company. In his claim, the lawyer stated the cigars were lost in a small series of fires. The insurance company refused to pay, citing the obvious reason that the man had consumed the cigars in the normal fashion. The lawyer sued and won. Delivering the ruling, the judge agreed with the insurance company that the claim was frivolous. The judge stated, nevertheless, that the lawyer held a policy from the company which it had warranted that the cigars were insurable, and also guaranteed that it would insure them against fire without defining what it considered to be unacceptable as fire, and so was obliged to pay the claim. Rather than endure lengthy and costly appeal process, the insurance company accepted the ruling and paid $15,000 to the lawyer for his loss of the cigars lost in the fire. And now for the best part. After the lawyer cashed the check, the insurance company had him arrested on 24 counts of arson. With his own insurance claim and testimony from the previous case being used against him, the lawyer was convicted of intentionally burning his insured property and was sentenced to 24 months in jail and a $24,000 fine. This is a true story and was the first place winner in a recent Criminal Lawyers Award contest. So we're finished on that note. I hope you enjoyed that. I like things like that. They're quite good fun. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you. And if you're watching this back later, as always, don't forget to drop a comment below so I can come and say hello personally to you. Until next time, as always, Meraki.